You got yours.
TLDR, in a roundabout way, my wife received the inheritance my mill intended to deny her. I have been enjoying the schadenfreude here for a long time, and I am pleased to finally have something worth sharing myself. My wife came to me with some unexpectedly happy news, and I feel it meets the expectations of petty revenge readers. Some backstory: my mill has spent her life cultivating a career of emotional terrorism, visiting it upon her children and grandchildren with extreme prejudice, along with most anyone who gets close to any of those aforementioned. She's narcissistic, bipolar, and just a mess. My wife and kids all have some manner of trauma traceable to my mill's influence. My Phil, comparatively, has been a saint of a man from what I can tell, aside from losing marks by way of enabling his wife's behavior over the years. Phil helped us purchase our home in the same neighborhood many years ago when we had trouble with a loan, with plenty of passive aggression from Mill on the matter in the background. It was bought outright with the equity of Phil/Mill's home. We pay the mortgage towards their equity loan monthly. This has also led to Mill referring to us as her tenants, passing herself as the owner of the home, etc., in some really embarrassing ways. Phil has passed away recently. Mill has a long history of making everything, from her son's coming out, to her daughter's divorce, about her. This, as expected, has been an endless wealth of drama from my Mill. My wife has been taking care of things around her home, while she wails as the grieving widow. Wife recently discovered that most of the house bills were unpaid and that some were headed to collection soon. Wife gathered up the bills and made spreadsheets, presenting them to my Mill. Her first reaction was to wail incoherently. When my wife suggested ways to resolve the debt, my Mill became hateful towards her. You just want to get your hands on our money. Now, Phil did extremely well in planning his retirement. He managed a portfolio that left he and his wife close to $750,000, and they've enjoyed a modestly extravagant decade, doing literally anything they pleased. Phil managed all the finances, and so they fell into slight disrepair in his absence. Any time it came up, cue the hysterics. Hence, my wife's offer. My wife, who has ever been the dutiful daughter despite the constant put-downs and harassment from her mother, suggested that she explore a power of attorney, so that my wife could consolidate her finances, get a lawyer to manage the estate and see to any bills, and arrange for a will if she so wished. After a week of silence, my wife received a rather vitriolic message from Mill: I'm doing the power of attorney, but I'm giving it to your brother. I neglected to mention that any prior whisper of a will was met with daggers from Mill, and her favorite phrase on the matter was "Don't even ask. You got yours. We're definitely not banking on getting a cent of inheritance, we made our peace with it, no problem. But it is salt in the wounds my Mill has dealt my wife, and the kids over their respective lifetimes. Enter my he was the firstborn, and he has never put up with any of the crap my Mill has tried to sling at him. He grew up shielding my wife from the bulk of her outbursts at least partially, and calls Mill out on her behavior. As a result, a neat little phenomenon occurred where, as my wife seeks Mill's approval and affection, my Mill seeks the same from Bil doesn't like the raw deal Mill has been giving my wife. He takes the power of attorney and consolidates all the debts, sets up the estate, etc. In doing so, he digs into all the accounts. Turns out, Phil had set aside money for his kids and grandkids, in addition to his retirement, to the tune of about $200K each. Mill seems to have had no intention of passing it along. Good thing Bil is now acting executor, thanks to the power of attorney. So, after seeing after the care of Mill to the end of her days and the management of her estate, unbeknownst to her, Bil paid off the entirety of the outstanding equity on Mill's home, which paid off our home. And he released access to the trusts belonging to him and my wife, and put the trust for our kids in my wife's name. We now have the potential to be completely debt-free before the end of the year. This is life-changing. My wife is over the moon, and obviously, so am I. It will be all the sweeter if my Mill decides to crack at my wife with that "you got yours" again. My wife can just smile, and nod, and know that it's really true. Well-deserved comeuppance for her and Bil after what they've had to endure under Mill all their lives. Hope you enjoyed.
Massive UPS to your Bil for being honorable and fulfilling his, and your wife, father's wishes. Money can always bring the worst of someone's character to the surface. It could have been easy to take a hard line and not do that.
Your wonderful brother-in-law made sure that everyone got theirs. Being an executor is hard work and I admire him taking it on. It's great that he doesn't let his spiteful mother manipulate him. I've experienced that when someone dies, people show their true selves when money is involved.
Bil never stopped being the protective big brother for your wife. He sounds like an awesome guy.
Wow, Bil is a saint. That Bil would have a place at my table any day for the rest of his life.
Great story and one of the most gratifying revenge stories I've seen. For a moment, I thought Op said that Mill had died. I'm glad she's not. It makes his wife's revenge that much sweeter, knowing that the wife's support is being rewarded and her mother has been defanged. Bil is awesome. Seems as if everyone, including Op, are good decent people, in spite of Mill's influence. It's great to see good things happen to good people, especially when it's at the expense of a vile human being, through a juicy serving of petty revenge.
This is great, and your Bil is good people. My brother, only sibling, and mother have had a difficult relationship for many years. It got so bad, our mother kept telling me she would cut him out of the will. I got tired of hearing it and told her it doesn't matter, I will ensure he gets half of everything, whether he's in the will or not. She finally got the message and sure enough, the will splits all assets evenly between my brother and me.
Excellent.
Bil is a champ.
Dude, you're a badass writer and storyteller. I enjoyed every minute of it. Kudos to your wife and Bil for being stand-up human beings despite all the emotional abuse they've endured. They've still done right by their mother after all the petulant dealings.
I wouldn't even count this as petty or revenge, this is just a dang feel-good story against a villain.
Bil sounds like a great guy.
Woot.
Why does this not have more upvotes?
Hope you enjoyed. I did. Thanks.
Great story, but honestly, I'm not sure what part of this counts as revenge. People are just getting what was already meant to be theirs, all around. This is more an injustice was prevented. Mill's just awful, but still is taken care of.